What's going on? It's Will, your friendly neighborhood range therapist. Today I wanted to go over the answer to what is wrong with this particular photo. As you can imagine, the answers were ranging across the entire spectrum. One of the answers was that the chamber is empty. So the question was, what about this picture is unsafe? An empty chamber would actually make the firearm more safe. Also, you can't tell the condition of the chamber by looking at that picture. You would need to actually visually and physically inspect the chamber itself. Having the trigger in the rearward position just means that the trigger has been pressed, but that does not have anything to do with the status of the chamber. You could have a light primer strike, it could be a failure to extract, it could be a number of things. Could be a hang fire, we don't know. So there's not enough information in that picture to say what is in or not in the chamber. Another person said that the pin in the back strap is not fully inserted, which if it was not fully inserted, that could affect the weapon's ability to fire, but that wouldn't necessarily make it unsafe. But the pin is fully inserted. Someone else said that there's no magazine in the weapon. Well, no magazine or source of ammunition would actually make the weapon more safe because at a maximum, you can only get one round to be fired. So not having a magazine in the weapon does not make a firearm unsafe. Another answer was that the firearm sits too high above the waistband or belt. So how high your firearm sits is largely personal preference. A lower sitting firearm is probably going to be easier to conceal, but harder to draw. Firearms that are a little bit higher might be a little easier to draw, harder to conceal, but then also your body type is going to play into that as well as your body position, because if you're in a seated position, having the firearm lower might affect your ability to sit comfortably. But none of those things have anything to do with safety. Someone else said that the trigger is depressed, meaning that I'm about to have an unwanted discharge, as they put it. Well, the trigger being depressed does not have anything to do with a unwanted discharge. So I'm not sure how those two things go together. So we're gonna throw that answer out altogether. Another person said the firearm is out of battery, which in the picture it is not. Also, it being out of battery would mean that the gun probably would not be able to fire, which definitely would not make it unsafe. Another answer was that the clips could puncture me if I'm not careful. The clips, talking about the clips for the holster, in the picture are not sharp at all. They have rounded edges, so I'm not sure what they mean about the clips puncturing me if I'm not careful, but that definitely does not make it unsafe. On the clips again, someone else said that the clips were homemade. They're absolutely not homemade. I'm not sure where that's going. Yes, having faulty clips where your firearm could potentially fall out onto the floor or what have you, or have an issue when you're trying to draw, there could be a safety concern there, but I'm not sure why they would think that the clips were homemade, because they are not. Someone also said the clips won't hold on to anything, which they are extremely secure. That is actually the holster that I used to use to run with before I switched. So that holster has literally hundreds of miles of me running, which means the gun was bouncing up and down, fully loaded, never came out when it wasn't supposed to. Countless numbers of draws, same thing, holster never came out with the gun. So quality of the clips is not in question. Back to the clips one more time. Someone else said that they are backwards, which, no. All right, so much respect to those of you that got the answer correct or the issue correct. I'm sure most of you that did get it correct got it within 1 second. So what I did is I took a Glock 17 and I put it in a Glock 19 holster. The Glock 17 has a longer sliding barrel, so it did not fit all the way in, which means the trigger was exposed. An exposed trigger is a huge safety issue because if something gets in there that should not be in there, it could potentially force the trigger back, and then you have a weapon discharge when it should not. Negligent discharge. So that is the answer to the question. Remember, your holster should be fully covering your trigger guard so that your finger can't get in there without you trying to scrape off skin in order to make it happen. If not, then you need to get a brand new holster. Either way, if you have any questions or if there's something in the picture that I missed, I'm open to that as well. Go ahead and comment below.